Joe, it's great to see you, mate. Do you know what? We've been meaning to do this for what, about 2 months now? And the thing is, you're still one of the busiest trainers in the game. I think you've had two cycles of fights since we were going to do this. You had Mikey on, I think, in Saudi. Then you had Zelfa. Then I'd completely forgotten that you were with Lawrence. I bumped into Lawrence in Wembley for Dubois, and you had him on there. And
Yeah.
then um, and then next thing I know, you've done a podcast with Matt and Alex, which sort of touched upon all the stuff I was going to talk to you about anyway. And I was like, well, we can't just do that again. So
Yeah.
left it to go again. And then next thing you know, Mikey's back out in Vegas and you're up and running again. Um,
Yeah.
it's been a crazy run though. I mean, how have you been holding up?
Yeah, listen, from getting diagnosed in November last year, we're now in September. It's mad to think nearly a whole year's gone. And as you said there, from Lawrence at Wembley, and then 7 weeks later to Mike in Vegas. I keep saying I've made notes and stuff like that, but I am going to want to do something about that of stepping out of Wembley with Lawrence on Saturday night, under the knife on the Tuesday, and then 7 weeks later from the knife there I am weighing Mike Italian in Vegas. What went on in them 7 weeks, the ups, the downs, the everything. Yeah, it's something that I really want to do something about it. Listen, it was hard. I'd already gone through the cycles of chemo and then the operation. I managed to get everybody, as you just touched on there, a fight in May, June, July, and Lawrence was the last one. Then it was like, right, I'm ready. Let's go and do this. Let's go and beat cancer. Let's go and take it head on. Had the operation. Was under the knife for like 7 hours, and then after that, then they said I'd be in hospital for like 10 days. I was out after five. They said I'd be driving after 4 weeks. I was driving after 4 days. And my goal was to be on that plane September the 5th to be going to Vegas for my Italian. And I did everything that I could do, recovery time. The consultants and that said at the time, listen, you're not got to be able to jump back into where you've left off. And I'm like, yeah, all right. But when it came out that first week or two, I thought, wow, he was right. Just being able to have a walk to the corner shop or walk around the block and start pushing myself to try and get myself a little bit fitter, a little bit quicker, get my energy levels back. But then your body then would shut you down and send you to sleep and say, no, you're doing enough. And it was all of that was going on at the same time, as well as getting back for food and wanting to be in the gym, but then being in the gym and then feeling the strains down below when you're trying to shout or coach and mentally exhausted, really. But then the Friday, Mikey was on. It was still touch and go where it was going. And the consultants, they said they'd let me know how the operation went after 3 weeks. Then it went 4 weeks, 5 weeks. And then it was like the 6th week, and I was phoning, I was saying what's going on. And like anything, you start worrying, oh, here we go now. Anyway, they phoned me on the Friday, it was like 4 o'clock. And bear in mind, we were supposed to be got to Vegas at the weekend, but I was still touch and go whether I could fly or not. Got permission to fly. Then they phoned and they said to me, listen, you need to come and see the consultants, but we know you're rushing and you want to know what things is, but we want to tell you like that they operated on your liver. They removed what cancer was in there, and the surrounding area around it looks really good. And then they said the bowels, he said that was a huge tumour that broke the back of the wall of the bowel, hence why that it spread to other areas in your body. We managed to take that out. And then we took 25 lymph nodes, sent them off for testing, and 3 have come back only cancerous. So, yeah, they're very happy. And they said there's got to be no further treatment unless, or only thing I have to do is every 6 months is just go in for scans and bloods. So I literally flew myself from Cloud9 over to Vegas on Saturday morning, Tris.
So does that mean that you are cancer free? Is that what it means, or does it?
Well, at the moment, they're very happy. I went in and seen the liver consultant yesterday. They're very happy. Go and live your life, everything in moderation. And I go and see the bowel consultant in 2 weeks' time. But what they said was, yeah, listen, everything's good. All we need is you to come in every 6 months just to check up on your scans and your bloods. And I'm like, wow, I thought I'd have to do radiation, another course of chemo, stuff like that. But yeah, that's how it seems to appear to be at the moment, mate. Yeah, so diagnosed in November and beat cancer by September.
Wow, that's well, congratulations, and without really slowing down, right?
Yeah, no, it's only when I came out of the operating theatre, I started to look into the recovery, how to make me fast self-recovery, taking vitamin C injections, vitamin D, going in oxygen chambers. I went in them an awful lot. My oxygen level was really low whilst I was in hospital, and flying, how what to deal with the pressure in my stomach and this blood clotting, all them things that I thought I wouldn't be able to get to Vegas to Mikey, but I really invested in myself. And I think what I learned coming out of it was, because we're so busy, Tristan, as a coach, you're too busy looking after everybody else. You never have time to invest in yourself. And it's been quite weird, a good type of weird, that I took myself off to go into oxygen chambers. I've had vitamin C drips, injections, vitamin D and B12, and really looking after myself. And yeah, that was a bit thing. I felt going back into the gym after weeks 2, 3, I felt a weighted vest had been put back on my shoulders, and I came out of it going, I'm not ready for it. Although I was there, I'm not ready for it. But the goal was to get Mikey right, and we got there. And then when I came back from Vegas, then I felt it was shattered. Had a couple of days off, took myself away for a couple of days just for a bit of sunshine, 2 days, try and regroup and try and. I think people's reactions, like the consultant yesterday and other people's like yours then and everything else, I'm sort of like, I wouldn't say I was immune to it, but I feel like I've gone through the journey, always knowing that I beat it, but always at the same time, it was the little battles along the way, being on a low residue diet, going in and the stent migrating and vomiting, all that type of stuff, all them little battles along the way. But I feel like I've done it, but when it's explained to me the magnitude of the operation, I was under the knife for 7 hours, and everything explained to me, I was a bit numb to it because most of it was a bit too focused and too in the zone to get myself right and get myself fit. And it's only when you've come out and you breathe and you come up and everyone's like, oh my God, wow, that's unbelievable, wow, blah, blah, blah. Stage 4 cancer at the time, bowel, liver, and in a aggressive form as well. Like I said, at the time, they're on about possibly something on my throat and that as well. And yeah, but then to get that, then I was able to fly. Then Saturday, we got an email through 7 o'clock Saturday morning. Our flights were Saturday midday. We were at Manchester Airport for 9:30, 10 o'clock. Flew out Saturday, trained Sunday. He did his medicals Monday, weighed Tuesday, and fought Wednesday. And there was a little moment. I was there on Monday when he was in his units, like they have in Vegas, and his bloods. And I just sat on the curb outside with a bit of sunshine, and I just thought, wow, who would have thought 7 weeks ago we did it, we got here, do you know what I mean? And then Mikey went and put the performance he did as well. So yeah, we're full in and we're back on it, back in the game. But there's a few things I have to do and carry on doing, which is looking after myself and not forget to look after myself. Otherwise, I'm going to end up. I'm very aware that these next 2 years are very important. This is when the probability of it coming back is at its highest. After going through chemo, a lot of good cells have gone. So yeah, there's all that. But like I say, I was very lucky to have some good people around me. The consultants were first class, and the team at the gymnasium, Marcus, Macaulay, Paul Butler, Scott Quigg, all holding the fort down for me and training the kids while I was in there. Yeah, it was good. And everyone in and around, family, friends, boxing people who knew, who helped me, I want to personally thank them all.
Has it changed your outlook on life at all? Have you come out with a different view of the world?
I think everyone has said that to me, Tristan. They've all said to me, you'll come out of this different, you'll be a different person, different this. I can't say I've come out and been different because I'm still boxing, still training, still determined, but I am more aware of you can't waste a day. I used to be quite comfortable sitting in and go, Joe, I've not got to do much today, or I'm just got to study there, but I'm not. I'm like, nah, I need to go and do something. I need to do something. I don't want sit and waste a day or waste half a day, or let's go to the movies, or let's go here, or let's do this. I feel I want to be up and about and doing something and making the most of it. Does that make sense, Tris? It's there's that side as far as do a pack in boxing, do a retire from boxing and go and live a life and living on a beach and cocktails and that. Well, really, that's not the life for me. And I think I'd go stir crazy in no time. I think boxing has been involved. I've been in boxing since the age of 10 years of age, 46 years. And it's a relationship that you have good times, you have bad times, and that's in any relationship, whether it be work, marriage, or anything in life. And boxing's been very good to me. I've not got to leave boxing. I will be involved in boxing. I haven't got to still carry on in boxing and maybe trim things down a little bit or not as much. Or I've got a good support team in around me, but be available. Like today in the gymnasium, I was talking and instructing and showing, and I'm still losing breath very quickly, and the lads could see me energy levels still ain't up. And what's it, 9 weeks since, 10 weeks up, and they keep saying you're still in this 0 to 12-week period of recovery. Then you have a 3 to 6 months, and along this way you've got your health and you've got your mental side of it going through it, your physical side of it. There's a whole stream of stuff that you've got to deal with and overcome with. And some days it could be like physical today, other days it could be mental, but I'm not really paid attention to it, mental or why me, pity me. I'm just like fully focused with the boxing. Boxing's given me a place to be, a diary, a place where I have to be, where I have to show up, what I have to do, and a purpose to give these kids who put the faith and the loyalty in me into achieving what I feel they can achieve.
Have you had that why me pity thing at all in the 12 months? Have there been
no, I feel no, I haven't, Tris. I haven't. I didn't tolerate it. I didn't really entertain it. I thought anything that I got booklets wise, anything cancerous was always put in a bag and put in the cupboard. I didn't want to entertain it. I threw myself more into work. It was only when I came out of the operation theatre, I started to look into the cancer, the recovery, the healing, and the process and the types of things, the mental side, the little issues, the ups and the downs that you will have. And that's when I started to take that on board and look into it. But I never allowed my mind to be succumbed to be looking at cancer documents, looking at cancer this, cancer that, and feeding it negativity. I wanted to keep it positive all the time, and the positivity all the time was keeping the lads fighting all the time. Selfie Barrett fought twice, Mikey fought twice, Lawrence fought, and just throwing myself into the work more and more and more, and just keeping a positive mindset. And I went to treatments on my own. I went to the hospital on my own. I went to the operation on my own. I came out on my own, and well, the kids picked me up from the hospital to bring me home after the operation theatre. But people say, "Oh, I'll come with you to chemo." I'm like, "Oh, I'm not a child going to a reception on day one. I'm a grown man. I can walk in and walk out," and that was my mentality. And you go in there and you see people in there and couples, and it is quite shocking that there's people in there really, really struggling and wanting to live another month, another year, another 2 years. And I think that the hardest part on all of it, Tris, was really the beginning when it was announced, and having to read on socials, people say, "Oh, poor bastard, he'll be gone in 6 months, or he'll be gone in 12 months, he'll be gone in 2 years, stage 4, he's fucked," and all that. Oh, that was hard to read. But at the same time, it was like, right, I'll show you. I'll show you his mentality. And yeah, that was it.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of, you mentioned the family there as well. How have they been through everything? Have they taken it harder than you then? Because that wouldn't be surprising, right?
Yeah, I think they did do. My daughter wasn't happy that I was continuing boxing. She wanted me to retire and this and that. But I said to her, "Listen, what do you want me to do? Be at the garden shed and pot around and do whatever?" Yeah, they understood it. I told everyone at the time in and around, just carry on with your lives like normal, carry on lives, I'm going nowhere, this and that. I think I did an article with Donald McRae for the Guardian, and just said, "Listen, if it was only to have got 6 months a year, I can't be feel angry and annoyed the life that I've had, the journey that I've had, the ups that I've had, and everything else. I've been very privileged, and there's lots of people that live to 90 that don't get half the life that I've had." And for the kids, I just wanted them to carry on with work as normal, family to carry on. And if there was anything drastic to tell them, I would tell them, and that's how it was. And then we had the operation, and the kids just carried on as normal, day-to-day normal, and that was it. I didn't like that. It isn't wrong. I know people, well, Joe, when they go, Trust you, are you okay? And you go, yeah, and they go, no, are you okay? And you're like, oh, please stop with that. Like, do you know what I mean? Please don't. I don't. And there is times I was walking around, Tris, and I thought, please don't no one say to me, okay, today, because if I do, I'm got to go, I'll crack, I'll burst. Do you know what I mean? There is days I will admit I walked around like that, where it was not me about self-pity, it was just how you're emotionally feeling that day, maybe the effort that you're putting into it, the stubbornness, and because you've been so single-minded that when you did stop and allow yourself to breathe for a minute, you had a rise of emotions of what could be and what could happen. And then when all of a sudden you're doing your will and doing all that type of stuff and who'll get this and what, it's like, you know, this is like a bit serious now. Do you know what I mean?
Well, also it's the fear of the unknown, right? You know, in between appointments and that, you don't know how bad it's going to be getting, or if it's going to be getting worse. And then obviously, you know, when you hear stage four, you start to think of like how much longer, right?
100%. And having gone through, I won't say I've gone through this before, but being beside someone who's gone through this before, who was diagnosed in November and gone in May, I was very aware of how quick and how aggressive this could get. Obviously, talking about Phil Martin at the time. So I've been privy to experiencing that and being by him and being at his bedside when he passed away. So when they say to you stage 4 bowel and liver and it's in an aggressive state, and then they tell you after operation, like the consultant said, it was a huge tumour, broke the back of the bowels, it was spreading. And I think, wow, if I wouldn't have gone for that medical, at what point would I have done it? Because I had no signs or no symptoms, to understand, yet it had broken the back of the wall of the bowels and had spread to the liver. Yeah, it's just like, wow, that going Halloween, I went for that MOT, that scan, and all over body check, and a stool sample, and it was the stool sample that covered it all. And since I've done this, there's like 3 or 4 people that have been in touch and said, listen, we heard about it and we've run and got tested out, and there's one that's ended up finding a tumour the size of a golf ball. There's someone else who's also had a tumour that's just gone through treatment at Christie's, and there's somebody else as well. And I think, wow. And they said if it wasn't for me coming out and me making it aware with them, and that itself is very touching, that's had an impact on them people as well. And
Well,
like,
allied to that, Joe, you made me go and get checked out. I went and got checked out as a consequence,
brilliant,
and
brilliant.
I got
Because the perception is like, oh, you've got to be 50 or 55, 60. It doesn't happen to us young, 25, 30, 35, 40. And it does. And I had no signs. I said to you, living a love life. And I'm glad that you've gone out there. And even if it is just a stool sample and you get boxes through the door, do it. At least you'll know, because I was very lucky that I got it and it burst the wall. But if I hadn't done it and thought, well, I'll do it next year instead on my next birthday, who knows? Who knows? To understand? So,
well.
yeah.
To be fair, I was overdue because I turned 40 in the pandemic, and when I went to the doctors, because you know when you get to 40, I don't know if you remember that far back. When you get to 40, they say they say you got to have this MOT. So I went in for the MOT, and then because it was in the pandemic, they didn't have half the stuff working. So I only did a little bit of the stuff that, you know, heart rate and blood pressure and that. And then I left it, and I thought, do you know what, like if there was anything that, you know, and they said they'd get back to me, and they never did. And then years went by, and then where you saw the thing with Bupa and that, I went through Vitality. They were doing a health check, and I
Yeah.
thought I'll go and get the health check. And it was light. Like I've not done a stool sample. I've got to say, but with both examinations, I'm still a bit freaked out because no one's cut my balls and no one's put their thumb on my ass either. So
Oh, Chris. That's the mental side, the just sheer embarrassment and the humiliation. It's just, oh, it just strips it away from you. I just think, is this what it's come to here now? Do you know what I mean? And nurses coming around and just going inside, Mr. Gallagher, tuck your knees up to your chest, and like, oh, where are we here now? It's them little battles along the way that your own self dignity and pride and ego, to an extent, it's, oh yeah, everything's stripped away from you, isn't it?
well, I was thinking like because I've not had that, I'm kind of thinking maybe I need to book a flight to Amsterdam. You know, where's the guy got to go to get his balls cupped and something stuck up his butt?
Oh,
I know,
jeez.
mate. But yeah, but no, but in all sincerity, is he? You know, I've not done that part of it. They've not come with those things, but I've
Yeah.
had the bloods, I've had the tests, and they're pretty
You done
happy
a
with
stool
it.
sample?
No, I've not. I've not. I didn't even know that was an option, to be honest.
Oh yeah, get your stool sample. I think I know Manchester City Council and some of them that have sent them out for people to do as a check. But yeah, stool sample. That's I went through all of that and a colonoscopy. I went through all of it, and it's the stool sample that discovered everything in.
Wow, and I mean it's terrifying, but also what would have happened? And have you even bothered looking at this if you hadn't gone for your random check?
That's what I was just saying to you. If I thought, oh, I won't do it this birthday, I'll do it the next birthday, because I was going to do it when I was 55, but I thought, now I'll do it 50. And if I thought, oh, I'm too busy, I'm in Riyadh, I've got training for Lawrence, I'm training for Natasha, because that's where I was at the time, and I'll leave it to next year. Who would have known by then? Because it had already broke the back of the wall.
Wow, that's terrifying. That's terrifying.
Yeah.
By the way, you mentioned the Saudi thing there. Just as a segue into the business side of things. Are you busy now? Have you got fights back to back like you have done, or have you got a bit of a downtime now?
No, at the moment now, we're out this weekend with Macaulay and Kieran making his pro debut. That's the 4th. Then we've got Josh Holmes on the 18th of October, Jack Massey 25th of October, Billy Dennis the 1st of November, Joe Cooper the 14th of November, Mikey Talon and Ben Eubank 15th of November. And then we're going in 3 weekends in December. And I'm just looking and waiting on Lawrence Okolie at the moment. But yeah, we're busy.
Wow. So I mean, you're one of the guys who thinks that boxing. I mean, there seems to be a couple of camps, but I mean, there are some people saying that boxing is struggling a little bit, but you're busy. And I mean, I suppose it depends on different people. Everyone's got different things, but you're personally extremely busy.
Yeah, listen, there's some of them are TV shows, some of them are small hole shows. This is I find it hard to say small hole no more because it's a boxing show, and sometimes these small hole shows have bigger attendances than TV shows. But when you look at the York Hall and like the shows like Pat Barrett and Kevin Reed do up here at times, and Steve Woods, they're rammed out, whether it be at Bolton or at Bowlers or the Oldham Leisure Centre, to get good crowds in, like 1,500 or whatever, 2,000, and that's really good doing. I feel I seen something this week and about small old boxing and British boxing being king. Well, the finger was half pointed to Saudi, and I've got to say that's wrong. It's nothing to do with Saudi boxing. And I understand what they're saying. Oh, that there's 5 headline acts together, and one of them could have been. But that's no different than what we've had in the past when Frank's done Magnificent Seven or Famous Five shows. They were all headline acts in their own right, but it made a great card. Eddie Heard did a great card in Liverpool years ago with Bellew Cleverly and Frankie Gavin on it, Kevin Mitchell, Scott Quiggin. I don't think so. I think what Saudi's doing is giving us the fights that we're not seeing, and I doubt we ever would have seen if it wouldn't have been His Excellency and Seller and Riyadh Season coming in and doing that. We wouldn't have seen them fights. I think what's happened, what's killing small hall boxing is the government. The government in what they're taxing people and the cost of living. That bit of money that used to be a little bit free in the household to go to a boxing show isn't there no more. Everyone's a bit more tighter with the pennies, with the pounds, because they don't have that luxury. And then when you are going to go to a small horse show, obviously the board, obviously the pricing of the doctors, the ambulances, the venue hire, the seats, the medics, the opponents, the journeymen are wanting crazy money now as well. And the emphasis is on the fighters to sell tickets, and then the pricing of them tickets have got to be a little bit higher to help to cover the cost of the show. And them tickets being that little bit higher, people just don't have the money in the budget to pay for that no more. And that's where it's going. I don't think it's very easy to say, oh, you're playing Turkey, you're playing this. No, they're delivering the fights. They're delivering the big events. I'll give an example coming up now. Joe Parker versus Fabio Wardley. I don't know how that's doing, but that's a standalone. But is that got to do 20,000 at the O2? I don't know. We'll see on the night. Do you understand? But I feel that's the type of fight that's on its own that you're on about, but feel could easily be comfortable in a 5v5 Do you understand? Or the Magnificent Seven. It's very easy to say, well, then fight. So I'll give you another example. Callum Smith versus Boatsa. Who can honestly put the hand on the heart and say before it that that fight would have sold out the O2 or the Manchester Arena?
Might have sold out Liverpool.
Yeah, but it's not
And
20,000.
and
Right.
also again, it sort of leads to what you say. Like it does depend on the main event, and if there's a good supporting card, a couple of ticket sellers on. But do you know what, Joe? I see both sides. I see what you're saying, and I see what Crawler was saying as well. Because I think there is merit to what Crawler says, but I also think there's merit to what you're saying. I think, do you know what? Probably the best way, because I'm central in my politics, is I'm probably central here in the sense that you're probably both right to an extent. And it's probably the circumstances of the landscape, whether it's the government, whether it's the Saudi thing, and it's this,
And the British border control.
and the yeah, and I just think it's just this meeting in the middle. It's just the timing of everything, and I think obviously one thing that's becoming clear is like there's going to be an almighty shakeout of boxing in the next 2 or 3 years, and however it is now, I don't think it's going to be like this at all in the next 2 or 3 years, and then we'll be able to see like where the cards fall, I guess, right?
Exactly, and like I say, even for the journeyman, like the cost of the hotels are dearer.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? The cost of the flights flying over are dearer, the insurance, the medicals, the board fees, everything's there, and it is hard. Listen, if you're a fighter and you're a decent ticket seller, I've got a couple of them, so I'm quite lucky with Mikey Talon, Clark Smith, that can pay for themselves, their opponent and their promoter. But there's other kids out there that have to still work in the day. Macaulay McGowan's one who's on a building site, still going to have to sell tickets. Now, Macaulay McGowan's last fight was against Abbas Baru, who's now world champion. Do you understand? And now Macaulay's having to come back now, get involved in a 6 round, to get a win and go again. Do you understand? And it's very hard for him. I get it's very hard, small or boxing, but it's the costings of everything that's gone up. And fighters are fighting, and some are fighting and paying their opponent. Then after they've paid the opponent, they've got no money left.
Yeah, sure.
And they're fighting for free.
Well,
And that's how it is. And it's like the promoters, the tickets, the venues, everything's going dearer and dearer and dearer. But the source of income and wage isn't matching.
sure. And yeah, I mean, what you say about the cost of living is right. I mean, me and my wife are forever saying, how much is that butter now? Like, it's just, but it's everything, isn't it? And like you said, it's, if you're looking at the small things like that, then the big things are just fine. Like, it's just insane to me how stuff's gone. Like, if you want to buy a car now, like, it's just crazy. Um,
Yeah.
and as you say, it sort of filters through into the boxing economy where, let's face it. I mean, what's it been through the last, what, 20, 30 years? The top 2 or 3% of the fighters probably made 90% of 97% of the money anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But I feel what the Saudis have done, and the fights that they've put on and the event, actually, would we have seen Canelo Crawford without the Saudis? No. Would we have seen BTBF Bivol? No. Would we have seen Fury Usyk? No. I don't think there's all them fights. You sit there now, Tris, and you tell me 5 must-see fights that we must see. Yet 3 years ago, we could list 10 off that wouldn't happen. I bet you're struggling to pick 5 must-see fights that we have to see now, because he's done them all. We've near enough done them all.
I don't know. I always want more, don't I? I could probably reel them off pretty quick, I guess. But
Come on, then.
okay, well, we still not got Canelo Benavidez. We'd still want Tank Shakur. We missed Loma against Shakur or Tank, which we could have had in that time. There's Benavidez against Yard or Beterbiev. Sorry, against Beterbiev or Bivol. And then where else are we? And then just a common one. I'd say, let's say, and it might be made sooner than later, but maybe let's say Yanabek and Adames to clear up at middleweight.
Okay, so of them 5, 3 of them were the same boxer, Benavidez.
Sure, and then you got Tank as well, but
Yeah, but what I'm saying to you is, when you go back a few years ago, you could go through the featherweights. Oh,
sure.
what's see that? The lightweights, the light welters, De La Hoya, Trinidad. Then you move up to the middleweights, and you'd want their fights, Hopkins and that, and then the light heavyweights, Jones and Tarver. Then the heavyweights, Lewis, Klitschko. There was big fights.
By the way,
a
sorry,
lot of them have been done now.
the other one would have been Boots and Crawford. I always thought that was a magnificent fight. But the thing,
Yeah, I think that's a good fight. That's still to see. But
the
yeah,
thing is,
I just feel
it's the business side of things as well, though, isn't it? Because you know very well that, just for example, Crawford against Jake Paul, for instance, in the current climate, is a way bigger fight than Crawford and Boots Ennis.
well, I was going to say to you, Carl Froch, Jake Paul would most probably generate more money than a lot of proper boxing fights, and that's the way that it's gone. You got misfits now. You got bare knuckle boxing that the other night with James DeGale involved in it as well. Do you know what I mean? So there's huge competition. I think there's lots of eyeballs. They've just done the Paramount deal with Dana White and what they're trying to do with that Suffer belt. There's a lot of changing in the sport. There's a lot of changing in the sport, and it's good to have competition. Isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. By the way, I'm conscious that the time's getting on. I didn't want to keep you
Sorry.
too long. Just no, no, it's more about me keeping you than vice versa. But I did want to speak to you briefly, if you're okay to speak about Ricky Hatton, just because you've been faced with such good news that it's come at a time when the sport's in mourning, and we've all, as far as I'm aware and can see, we've all taken the news pretty hard about Ricky, and understandably so. So it's come at a strange time for you, where you've got arguably the best news you could have had, and we're suffering one of the worst losses we've had.
Yeah, for me, knowing the kid since he was like 12, 13 years of age, amateur at Sale West ABC, and going through the schoolboys and then going through the junior ABAs and watching this. I think he was 17, he went to Germany, fought Bremer, and then he came back, and then seeing him turn professional and just watching this kid that you're seeing on these amateur shows all of a sudden becoming into the superstar, and being privileged to be ringside and watching his fights with Mayweather, and having John Murray on the card the night before, and then having Joe Murray on the undercard of Hatton Pacquiao and Ricky Hatton, as well as a fighter who's a manager and a promoter. And he had some of my kids as a promoter as well, Scott Quigg, obviously, for example, or Anthony Croller, Joe Murray, and he had the shows and he put them on and big shows and decent events. I wouldn't say, I think it's very hard for people to feel like he's still not here because of social media, and everyone's popping up. There's a reel of Ricky years ago talking, or a highlight reel of him knocking out people and his fights with Thaxton and Boxing News, and that is, he still feels very much here, as he usually does. The things that do be missing is usually his daily or every other day post about what he's done in the gym and his CBD oil. That's what he was on social media with. The thing is, thoughts and prayers to him, his family, and his manager, Paul Speak, advisor, who's been by his side from day one. And there's a lot of people who would have had great memories meeting Ricky Hatton at these functions up and down the country all over the years, and had photographs with him, seen him on a night out, bought him a pint, or he's bought them a pint. And yeah, he was a jolly, cheeky chappy.
Going back to you though, Joe. So you mentioned there that you weren't gonna retire. You're not, the life of on a beach drinking cocktails isn't one for you. But like, do your priorities change now, or do you want to stay on the treadmill? You said like maybe slow the pace of the treadmill down, possibly, but it still doesn't strike me that that's in you, right? It still seems to think that you're gonna, you just reeled off all your dates until Christmas, so we're not going to do another podcast for about 2 or 3 months, surely. You're just non-stop again. But
Yeah.
like, do you have any interest in really? And I'm not going to say taking a step back, but just slowing it down a little bit.
Joe, Tristan, yeah, I do. I am at the moment wrestling with a lot of decisions to be made, but the team at the hospital and all that say you're not in a position to make any big decisions at the moment. You've got to concentrate on finding who you are, and recovering. And then once you've gone through that process with 3 months, 6 months, you'll find out what you want to do, not want to do. It's very easy for me to say, well, do you know what? I'm not walk away from boxing. There's nothing really to do. Done it all, been there, seen it all, done it all, won it all. Like, that's it. I'm done. Drop the mic and off we go. Maybe that might still be the case in a few months, 6 months, 12 months, whatever. But I still feel there's one or two goals that I still want to achieve. And yeah, that's it. And if I do that, maybe then we'll revisit in a year's time. But yeah, I must really always have my hands in at the moment. I've got both feet, both hands in at the moment. Maybe in 12 months' time, I might just have my feet in it. So we'll just see. But like I say, I've been advised not to be rushing into decisions because mentally as well, I used to joke it's like cancer fog, brain fog. You can be a little bit forgetful and memory a few things and that. So I feel sometimes like that I'm like, oh my God, what's their name now? I can't think of it. Where I used to be sharp as a button on it. So just little things like that that makes you become a little bit aware, Chris. So all I want to do at the moment is just do what I'm used to doing and then take it from there. And if I feel any other way moving forward, whether lesser fighters or just walking away from sport, then I'll do that. But I'm not going to make any big life changing decisions just right at the moment while I'm in this recovery period.
When your head hits the pillow now, are you sleeping easier? Like, does it feel like you mentioned that weight vest being on you physically earlier? Does it feel like this massive burden's come off since you got the news?
Yeah, it has. No word of lie. I never had a good night's sleep. Um, I don't know if it's till I come back from Vegas or because in Vegas I didn't sleep well neither. But I wasn't sleeping well. I was like up till 2 o'clock, then awake at 5, or go to bed at 10, and then awake at 3. I just wasn't sleeping at all. And I think it was mostly when I came back from Vegas, then I managed to. Well, I just remember thinking, wow, I've had 8 hours good sleep. I've like I can go to bed and know I'm got to go to sleep and not be waking up and going, oh, I can't go back to sleep. And that's because I was moaning about it and feeling this isn't doing me no good because everyone was saying to me, doctors, consultants, you need to sleep. Sleep's the best time. It'll help your body heal and all that. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going around the bend here, not sleeping. Do you know what I mean? And then it becomes, I won't say an anxiety, but you do start thinking about a little bit more. I hope I sleep well tonight. I need a good night's sleep. And I know people say take this and take that, but I'm always a bit thingy about what I put in my body as well.
Yeah. All right, Joe. Well, look, I'm pleased, really pleased that it's good news, and really
Yeah,
appreciate you taking the time to speak to me. I still can't believe that you stayed on the treadmill as you did. You do more work than me, and I haven't even had it.
I
So,
don't know. It's yeah. Listen, what else we got to do? The thing is, like I've said to when I've told a few people, strong mindset as always, and I think believe that all the time. And I think if you keep that strong mindset and keep going all the time, and that's it. It's the mind's such a powerful tool. And like I said to the lads in the gym, and if I can do this and beat this, then I expect you to beat half of these fucking idiots that you're fighting coming up.
and it is such a message, such an important message to get checked out, right? Such an important.
Oh, 100%. Like I said to you, I know the box will come and say, oh, do the stool sample. And you're like, there's a bit of an embarrassment. It's nothing. I'll tell you what's more embarrassing. I'm going to go in there and put your knees to your chest and lie on your side. So do the stool sample. And that's how I found out about mine. And I did it. I flew back to Dubai. And then my phone started blowing up when I was training Lawrence, but I ignored it till I got Lawrence's fight out of the way, and then I did it before Tasha's, and then they told me the day before Tasha's fight, and then I just kept hold of it then until just before the new year. The news didn't want to ruin anyone's Christmas or that, and just allowed me a little bit of headspace to be able to deal with it and hit it head on. And after Lawrence had called it for, I just thought, right, come on, let's fucking do this.
All right, Joe. Look, thanks so much for taking the time to chat to me.
No
I'm glad
problem,
we
Chris.
finally
No
got to it,
problem.
and congratulations, mate. And let's keep in touch, mate.
Yeah, 100%. All right, Chris, look after yourself, my friend.
Cheers, Joe. Take care. Bye bye.